Andrew with Teal Electronics and Automotive here in Midland, Texas. Today we're going to be replacing a rotor on a Bobcat 250, Miller Bobcat 250. The rotor inside the generator is bad. I'm gonna try to give you as much info as I can. It's hard to get work done and film and then edit and put it on there for you guys, but y'all seem to like it, so we'll see if I can't make a good one for you. The first thing is going to be getting the front control panel disconnected from the generator stator. Next part will be getting the stator off. Once you got the stator off, you can get the rotor off. There's a special tool you need to get the rotor off, and it's just to hold the engine still, and to be honest, you don't need it. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Let's get started. Well, I was gonna get started on this Bobcat, but then we had an Amazon order come in. So we're gonna fulfill that order. It's for one of our lenses, well, Technoweld's lens that I offer online. And battery and spare lens covers. I just want to show you guys that it's literally me or Jose or my wife packing this stuff up and sending it to you. You are supporting a very small business. If you buy from us, you're buying from a very small family business who is more than excited to make sure everything goes your way. You're not dealing with a big company that literally does not care who you are or what you want. Try to make sure that that covers the whole entirety of the lens, because I want it to get to you safe so you can use it. I take care and pride in packing these. Another thing is, I always, on my packing slip, I always write a little thank you and try to send you to our YouTube. We'll leave the name out for now. Grab a couple business cards. And we grab a couple stickers. Set that on there like that. Mind you, most of my income comes from repairing these machines, people's machines and people's cars. So I have to stop what I'm doing to do this, but I don't mind, because people want stuff. I want stuff. I can't ever get these to peel up the right way, at least not with my fingernails. And even then it's kind of a half and half. Bam, there we go.
press firmly, and then I like to kind of give it some friction, let it heat up, make that adhesive stick. Then we take our shipping label, we slap it on there, and later, on my way home from work, I will drop this off at USPS. I want you guys to order enough stuff from me that this entire toolbox is full of stuff that I need to drop off. I want you to order enough stuff from me that I have to hire somebody else just to pick and pack and ship the orders.
Okay, let's get started. First things first, we're gonna take these covers off. Keep this porticool pointed at me. For those of you wondering what this is for, it's for when I'm laying underneath a vehicle. I can drop that down and it directs the air under the vehicle because it is hot. And not just in Texas right now, it is hot all over. Although yes, normally it's pretty flipping hot in Texas, especially Midland, Texas, this desert town.
Normally leave one, because actually I'm going to take it out just to show you. When you go to take the hood off, they'll flop down. And sometimes you're not ready for it. And mine's dirty just a little. So I leave one bolt in. Most of the time.
Yep. She just stripped.
So, we're going to do what we've been doing. And we're going to grab ourselves a pipe wrench. A nice, big pipe wrench. 36 inch.
There she goes. It's stupid. It doesn't take a whole bunch to get that to break loose, but I tell you what, just using a wrench, she doesn't want to. And I have tried using my big guy.
I mean, not that it matters, but I'm going to show you.
Got a 24-inch adjustable wrench. Doesn't matter how tight I get it on that shaft, it rounds off. So now that we have cracked her loose, let me see if I can get a flashlight pointed in there and show you. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see just a tiny bit of gap in between the crankshaft and the rotor. So she definitely got broken loose. I don't want to grab that shaft with my hand, so I'm going to grab it with a small pipe wrench that's already broken. And we're just going to unscrew it a little bit. You can watch the brushes and see how far you're going, because you're going to want to take those brushes off before you go all the way, and you can't go all the way until you get this rear stator housing off, which is just 4 bolts and a whole bunch of wires. So if you don't know where all this stuff goes, you can always consult the diagram that's on one of the side panels. And we usually have some going to the stabilizer and the rectifier. And we just start getting busy disconnecting. This connector, you just pinch both of them to pull it off. Might need a little pocket screwdriver to get that out. Now that guy's out. There's our ground reference for our fuel sending unit. I try to put my tools back when I'm done, unless I think I need it here coming up almost immediately. Like these two guys, I probably won't need this one for a while. Probably won't need that one for a while. Just to give it a little snug once we get it all back together. Oh, yeah. That's what I was doing. Ever watch Bend It with Bendin? Yeah, I love Bendin's reels, man. You can tell he's a real mechanic. He'll do stuff like have this in his hand, walk around the shop, go to use it, and this is what he has in his hand. Well, why the hell did I grab that? Dude, fucking hilarious. Okay, so those are gonna stay. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna show you a couple different ways. I'll probably do it the easy way, because I plan on having this back together before the day is over. We do also offer pressure washing services for these guys. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 going into the stator. And we are gonna do it the easy way. If I can find my marker, which I cannot. There it is. So from top to bottom, we're gonna give this one 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines. And we're gonna go 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That lets us know top to bottom. And we start right here. You can also do the wires to make sure you're matching them up right. There we go. Really hard to get that wrong. And a Sharpie is fast. When I first started doing this, I would literally tape a number. These are super cool, but they're kind of expensive for what they are. You pull a number out, like the number 1. You wrap it around your wire and stick it to itself. And now you know where that wire goes. I think a few dots is pretty quick though. All right. Don't know why I put that Sharpie up. We're gonna take this back brush and we're gonna number that 42G. We're gonna do 1 line. And on the front brush, 112B, we're gonna do 2 lines. And then over here, we're gonna do 1 dot in the back, and we're gonna do 2 dots over there. That way we know where those brushes go. Then we are gonna take a small Phillips bit and an electric ratchet, because I am a lazy individual. And we're gonna take those brush screws out. Now we have our brushes out and we can check the condition. They're more than long enough and they move freely. So we're gonna be good on that front. We'll put our brush and our screws in the same cubby compartment. Now we can get this guy off. See, this is kind of what I was talking about with the bolt sizes. I'm going to take these 3/8 bolts out with a 10mm wobble. If they were 10mm bolts, I couldn't use a 3/8 wobble. Almost forgot, I need to take these off first. And let's see if this guy will get it. Okay. Gotta get that next one off to get that one off. We'll pull these 2 wires off, then we can pull those 2 off, then we'll put these all back on, because I like making things easy. Like I said, I am kind of a lazy individual. Lazy in the way that I'll go out of my way to do work, extra not lazy work, so that my brain doesn't have to work as hard. You know, to be honest, a lot of times I find mental labor far more taxing on my soul than physical labor. I don't know. It's just the way I am. Maybe I could have been a rocket scientist or an astronaut. I would love to go to outer space in a different life, but man, that mental laziness. I just wanted to work on cool cars, and I wanted to learn how to weld, and here we are. So I believe this one's 10, and then we've got 11, 12. These are our weld stator windings. So now, the way that I have it, these brushes, or sorry, these wires that came off the brushes will stay with the front panel. We're going to pull these resistor wires off, and the resistor will stay with the lifting bail. And so now when we take these bolts out, this will stay over here. And then all we have to do is separate all these big cables. We will also have to remove the choke cable. It's just a Phillips or an 8mm. I'm gonna go ahead and take these back since I do not need them. I know, I don't want to hear it. I need to clean up. I know it. I know it. So we probably don't need the 13 for a little bit. I'm gonna put that guy back and grab the 8. I know my 10's right there. I might not need that one for a little bit. I know my 3/8 is right there. Nice and gentle light. anytime I'm screwing something through something and I can see the back side of it, I like to look and make sure that I'm not gonna hit anything by going too far. And I just realized that another reason I like the Subarus, man, they put a hole there. If you ever lose this bolt and you have to go get another one and it happens to be longer than this one, it's okay. They drilled a hole in that plate so that it would fit through. So now when we pull the front panel, that will be ready to come off nice and easy. There's my FUPA. I'm gonna take this top bolt out and let the bottom one act like a hinge. That'll give us just a little bit of wiggle room to get all this other stuff out. So all of these will be staying with the panel. Actually, no, I lied. These two cables will be staying down here. And so now, as a placeholder for all these, I like to come grab a brand new 1/4 inch bolt nut. And yes, those are organized. One of the few things in my shop that is. Now I know that all of those bolted right here to ground. Which, I mean, I know that anyways. I'm just saying, if you're the one doing it, that will help you know where those wires go. And you know, if all else fails, you could learn how to read a wiring diagram if you don't already know, and then you shouldn't really have much to be worried about, other than the fact that if you put this thing all back together and she doesn't work, what did you do wrong? Okay. A lot of zip tie cutting, and we will be putting zip ties back on here. Keeps the wires out of the way, keeps things from getting injured. So now this guy goes on that one bolt. That's easy enough, right? This guy comes down to the rectifier. This guy goes to that bolt. The water goes in your mouth and down your throat hole. So these top three, look, that wire's 13. You know, I can tell. It says so. I'm gonna blow these off a little bit again and do my Sharpie trick. Sometimes it's not enough to blow them off. Sometimes you need to wipe them off. Okay, so now towards me, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3. So this guy right here is gonna get 1 lonely mark. And then this guy right here is gonna get 2 lonely marks. And then this guy over here, we're gonna give 13 3 marks. If I'm being honest, most of the time nowadays, I really don't even mark them. I know where these things go, and if I ruin a machine, well, that's on me, and I have to pay for it. So I try very hard not to ruin the machine. That's not gonna work. So on that one bolt, just to avoid taking the switches off altogether, we're gonna go with a wrench and then by hand. Say one line. If you want to be nice to yourself, you can never mark too much. You really can never mark too much. So I put a line there, 1 mark, 2 marks. Yet again, reminding myself where these wires go. And then over here on 13, right on the copper strap, jumper strap on the back, we'll put 3 lines. And I'm gonna stop putting this over there for a second because I have a feeling I'm gonna need it again pretty soon. All right, so wire number 1 is off, which is actually wire number 10. Wire number 2 is off, which is actually wire number 12. Cable, if you want to call it cable. And we'll see if we can get this one from this side, 13. Careful with that porcelain rheostat made by Omite. Okay, so I lied yet again. So these switches, I'm gonna take them off to avoid having to take this guy off. We're gonna leave those switches on the inside. And then once we get this guy off, I'll get this last guy off. Might not 100% be possible. Yes, it is. So we have wire number 48, I believe, and 42. Yeah, which go to our toroid or current transformer to tell this little PC board to idle it down or not. But we're gonna put 42 right here, so that we know that's where 42 went. And then over here on the current sense, we're just gonna put a little line and a little line. Although I know that that's current sense, and I know where that's going. There we go. And then we need to cut the zip ties holding our current transformer to the rest of the wiring harness. Bada boom. Now, we should have everything loose and off and ready to pull the front panel. Minus, okay, I was completely incorrect. Minus taking this guy off and minus taking these switches loose so that they stay behind. You know, to be honest, it really works pretty well no matter the job and the task at hand. Just noticed that I left that fuse disconnected at the top from when we initially tested this welder and found out that it needed a rotor, which, by the way, this rotor, I will find the part number here in a bit, put it in a link in the video, but this rotor part number is no longer available. So I have one sitting on the shelf from another machine that ended up needing a motor, so I ended up with the machine. Some of you might think that's awesome, that's cool. I ended up with a machine. I don't like having crap all over the place. I would much rather just get a good new part. But since that's not an option, this customer wanted to go ahead and put a used one in there, and so that's what we're doing. So only wire we have left is that one at the bottom. Take these switches off. This battery's a little dead. Oh, forgot yet another. The wires that wrap around the current transformer are auxiliary wires. Okay, which is 28 and 81. So we'll take 81 off of the terminal board. It's got our 4 dots on it. Again, if I didn't know going back together, you could always look at your wiring diagram. If the numbers on the wires have rubbed off, not a big deal. You can always trace them back to where they are, where they go. If you disconnected every single thing on this guy, I don't know why you did. Then it's kind of, why would you do that without giving yourself some way to identify where it all goes back? Okay, and then we have 82 is a 1-dotter. You know, you could just cut these and butt connect them back, or put 1/4-inch blade terminals on it, but it's a less reliable connection than a bolted connection and a solid wire going all the way through. So, all right, now these two, which is yet again 82 and 81. Are bolted right to the side of this circuit breaker. 81's on top, 82's on bottom. And yet again, we are going to label them so that we know where they go. So that's 81, 82, and we're going to put a 1 line, and then we're going to put 2 lines. And we're going to get ourselves long socket driver with a thin wall snap-on socket. And we're just going to loosen and pull. Loosen and pull. Okay, so now current transformer wires are completely separated from the front control panel. And the front control panel should be ready to pull off. Go ahead and try to snake these switches out from inside here. These pieces of paper are somewhat important. They help to keep some of the dust out of the switches. I did a repair video on a Bobcat not a horribly long time ago, in which you could see the pitting in the switch. This one's not that bad, and we'll definitely clean it up before we put it all back together. But you can see the grease and the dirt doesn't mix very well. But the pitting is, honestly, it's not bad at all on these. These do not need replacement. These need to be cleaned. Look, you can still see some of that grease all nice and clean. So, now we are ready. I haven't decided if I'm going to use the forklift or roll it over there to the jib crane. Normally I use the jib crane for jobs like this, but Jose has taken over the second bay, and dude's doing work in there hardcore all the time. I love Jose, but he is on vacation. I miss him. I miss my buddy. Okay, so now we can take these last two bottom bolts out, and we should be able to pull the whole control panel off. Don't forget your choke cable. Well, it looks like I forgot this little guy. It never fails. So, have you ever pulled an engine? I promise you'll forget something. The first engine you ever pull, the second engine you ever pull, probably the 500th engine you've ever pulled. You will forget one tiny thing. That doesn't mean it's going to be a problem. That doesn't mean, you know, oh, the world's going to end or you're going to break something taking it apart. It's just as you go to take it apart, you will realize, oh shit, I forgot this or I forgot that. I like to put that output terminal bolt back in there and just lightly thread the nut on. Andrew, there are two output terminals. Okay, well, for the sake of the video, we're just gonna have to pretend that I marked those two. You should definitely mark them. Set that down nice and gentle so that nut doesn't fall out. Sometimes you gotta get yourself in weird positions, you know. Slip that choke cable up under there. Stay. So this one's going to be this side, this one's going to be this side. This is going to be our output on the right, that's going to be our output on the left. And we're done with that. So this guy. Need that wrench yet again. Well, I might not. Sometimes they like to press them into these aluminum rectifiers. This one is not. Sometimes they like to weld themselves, these aluminum rectifiers. Okay. And that's all that she wrote. I'm just wrapping this around itself and tying it so that my current transformer doesn't fall off, so that I remember which wire it went around. Although I know it's number 10. Water goes in your mouth, down your throat hole. I will be putting a new bearing on the rotor that I have for this one, so there will be a cut in the video where I go to get said bearing. And now this bolt, that bolt, and there's one right in there. You can't get to that one until you can lift up the back end of the generator. You cannot lift up the back end of the generator until you take this one mounting nut off the bottom right here. You should have to get some space to get in there, but a lot of times I can get in there. So that means we're gonna have to take the lifting bail off because there's no space to lift that. It's just how it's gonna have to be. So we're gonna grab a 13 millimeter, even though that is a half inch head with 5/16, 18 thread pitch. Now don't go grabbing on this and trying to yank it up and be like, oh, I won't come out. There's two little dowels that are a part of this. So you have to push it inwards and then you can come up. And then if that other side doesn't click back into place, you can place your arm on the fuel tank and kind of grab the lifting bail right there to keep it from falling back in. Come to the other side and push this side. Bada boom, comes out nice and easy. Don't kill yourself trying to get it out. Pay attention, look around. Okay, what I like to do first is get this up high enough to get that one bolt before I do anything else. Let's get that bottom mount bolt out first. It's a 9/16 and it's a nut, not a bolt. We're gonna see if we can get it with a flex head ratcheting wrench, at least break it loose. And then normally these will unthread pretty easily by hand. Well, there is a slight possibility that we'll have to remove this stuff. Slight. Okay, got her on there. She's loose enough that I can probably just get her with the socket now. We got our nut and we've got our thick washer holding that engine down. Now she should be free to come up. We're just gonna give her a little nudge with a pry bar to be certain. Yep. See how she moves freely now? So now we should be good to lift her up high enough. Well, to be honest, had going a little better than I thought it was gonna go. So we might not even use the jib crane or roll it anywhere. There we go. That stud does have to clear. And now you can see the bolt. Not sure where I put my little flashlight. Ah, there she is. That right there is the bolt that you cannot get to without lifting up the stator housing and getting that stud up out of its mount. Once you get that bolt out, you can take the other three out, pull the stator housing off, and you should be good to take the rotor the rest of the way off. Sorry, I was just reading an email. Ordered a chopper module from Lincoln for a Air Vantage 500. Received an email about it. Just finding out what she said. My brother Ross should be here pretty soon. All right, so now we're gonna take this same guy right here. We're gonna put that 13 back. We're gonna grab a long impact extension. And yes, we're gonna use a Harbor Freight chrome socket to get that bolt out. That right there is the bolt that you cannot get to without lifting up the stator housing and getting that stud up out of its mount. Once you get that bolt out, you can take the other 3 out, pull the stator housing off, and you should be good to take the rotor the rest of the way off. All right, I'm gonna grab a puller so that I can grab onto it right here and pull that stator off a little bit. This is the puller I use for most jobs like this. It's a Proto, expensive. To try to get them as flat and as even as possible. If any of you know proper puller etiquette, please feel free. Okay, so the GoPro died. We're charging it back up. I've got spare batteries, but I did not bring them to the shop today. You know the deal. Tighten this guy. It'll pull this guy off of this guy, which will then let us get to this guy, which is bad. Bada boom. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it back off, or off for the first time, and I'll let you know how it goes. All right, we got the stator off. Wasn't too bad. I just stood up here and manhandled it off. Didn't feel like pushing this table all the way over there. It may look easier than what I'm making it seem, but there's not quite enough space, so I have to maneuver it. What's up? So now that it's broken loose, it's super easy to turn by hand. And you can see we still have our holding tool holding it down. And you're just going to keep turning it. You see the space between the crankshaft and the rotor now? You're just going to keep loosening it until it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. Then it's just held on by the ID of the rotor shaft and the OD of the crankshaft. So I'm going to get it off. So now we got the rotor off, and you can see that it is threaded to the crankshaft. Also, once you get the rotor off, you can tell whether your rear main crankshaft seal has been leaking or not. This one has not, which is awesome. Here's our new bearing. There's our old bearing. And we're getting ready to put it back together. So, just to give you guys a quick lesson, if you don't know how this works. This is just a big coil of wires. This one is actually a 2-pole because you've got 2 coils. It's a 2-pole rotor. You put, just to give you guys a quick lesson on how this works. This is basically a big electromagnet when you put a DC voltage across these slip rings through the brushes. As your engine spins this guy, and it has to be energized. As an engine spins this energized electromagnet through the inside of this coil of wires, as that magnet passes by each coil, it induces, as it leaves the coil, induces a voltage into each one of them. So with generators, engine speed is very critical. It has to be maintained, especially through a load. But let's show you how I know one is bad and one is good. The specification for this specific rotor is about 4 ohms. You can see we've got open loop. I'm going to poke the brass slip rings, still have open loop. But if we come over to this guy, you can see we have 4.3 ohms. So left one good, right one bad. All right, so we've got the other used rotor on. I went ahead and put a new bearing on it. I didn't think to record that part. I don't know why, because I'm making a video on doing this. I should have recorded it. But hindsight's always 20/20. So now we're just gonna screw this guy in. Until she's all the way down. Almost. And there she goes, see? Now, we'll wait until we have everything else put back on before we actually give her a little snug. As long as we know that it made contact in there, that's all we really care about. Now we need to bring it the other way, because when we tighten it, we need this to hold still. And we're gonna see how easy / hard it is to get this rotor back on here. I mean, stator back on here. The rotor's already on. If I die or break my back trying to do this, you can all say I told you so in the comments. But someone call a paramedic. I think I'm gonna have to put that one on real quick. ABC by Polyphia featuring Sophia Black.
Someone call a paramedic. I can't see this
Be very careful getting it up to that point. You don't want to hit these coils on anything. And then you got to watch your stud down here. But look, we are already back. Okay, and how I normally get these back on is I use some bolts to suck them up evenly and carefully. And yes, like I said, that's a used rotor. They don't make this rotor anymore. And I had to use one in stock, so we'll save this machine for them. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think it had literally barely over 100 hours, even though it's kind of old. Now I remember. If you're not listening to Polyphia, what are you doing with your life? Maybe you should be listening to Zenigate. Get that one that's kind of hard to reach again. And I just try to go between this one on the bottom and that one on the top, back and forth. You know, another kind of shitty thing about all this is that we don't know with 100% certainty that this stator is good. The reason you don't know that is to test it, you would have to have a rotor spinning on the inside of it. What can you do? But you can do resistance tests and make sure that everything is under an ohm. If you got anything open loop, there's a problem. If you got anything shorted to each other, there's a problem. But that being said, if you have one coil of wire, let's just say this is a coil of wire right here, because it kind of is, and it's wrapped multiple times, right? Well, if you measured from here to here with a meter, you're going to have less than an ohm. If you measure from here to here, you're going to have less than an ohm. If you measure from here to here, you're going to have less than an ohm. So if this coil of wire shorts out anywhere, but doesn't short to another coil and doesn't short to ground, it just shorts to itself, which is possible, it can test good right here, but it can have a problem right over here. The measurement is going to be pretty much the exact same. You need a revolving field on the inside of a stator to test voltages coming out of the stator, and that revolving field needs to have a specified amount of voltage going into it, and it needs to be spinning at a specific speed for any of the measurements you take over here to even matter. So there's that. And grab our big pry bar. We're gonna lift her back up. We're gonna take that guy out and let her slide right back where she goes. Boom. We are almost done. So now we're gonna put all of this back together. And once we've got it all back together, we'll start it up, we'll load test it, and we should be good to go.
Police walk around, they won't hear a sound. I'm all by myself and I keep it 100. I keep a clip on me, pussy and a pony. Driving the phone, anything that is stolen. Pull up in the function, they won't even notice. These niggas be talking about, spark it out, just take them out. Put them in the bag, shut them out. Police walk around.
I've got the lights off in here because I left to lunch to get some food. I didn't turn them back on because I didn't feel like it. All right, that's snugged back up. We can go ahead and put our lifting bale back on. Your resistor being on this side towards the control panel lets you know how it goes on. I like to just kind of throw one side in, then lift it back up, and put the other side back in. You want to make sure that that slot lines up. Also, if it doesn't want to go in, check that dowel. Just a little push.
Police walk around.
Got a mustache hair in my stuff. There we go. See our dowels lined back up, our holes are lined back up. We missed our slot on both sides. I just said, don't do that. Okay, that slot's good. Bam. Perfect. Good. Then we take our 5/16, 18. Son of a gun. Let's get this nut back on this mount. Easier said than done. Getting tight. Now this guy ain't going nowhere. Pretty sure I didn't need to take that one off. It's not the cleanest job ever, but it's not the dirtiest job ever. You can ask Mike Rowe about that. Take that to the bank. Okay, while we still have room, we're gonna go ahead and take this guy and bolt her back up. Bolter, like Ave, A-V-E. It's a good channel. You should go check it out. All right, time to put our control panel back on. Man. I think I mentioned that we also do pressure washing services for the equipment we work on. Put our little bottom hinge bolts back in, that way it doesn't fall away on us. Six seems to be an alright setting for these little screws to not strip them, but also to get them tight enough. Alright, we're gonna change this up. Let's go to artist. I've got one I want to listen to right now. It's Chicanito. Forgot where I left her. And that's why you mark stuff, because it's very easy to forget you're a human being. And depending on your attention span, you may not remember what your last thought was. Where did she go? Where did she go, George? Where did she go? Of course we dropped it. Man, this thing is almost back together, isn't it? Only took a full day of work. We got a little bit of overcast out there. Awesome. We're actually going to leave that unplugged because I never disconnected the battery. Just to be safe. Where is one? There's one. Two. How's it going?
Está caliente.
Sí, muy caliente. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, 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 bien.
José, sí. Para esta máquina. Bueno, señor. Well, the GoPro died again. But we've got almost everything wired back up. I got to put a couple more wires there. Those wires right there, I put those back on since I still had the space. Still got to get this ground wire. But, and then we'll have to plug this in. But, yeah. I just wanted to let you know the GoPro died. And I'm probably going to finish this off camera because it needs to get finished. Next time I'll remember to bring my spare batteries. That is all, folks. It's really not hard to perform the repairs on these pieces of equipment. The hard part, as always, is diagnosing the problem. Man, it's a lot of reading. Service manuals, technical manuals, you know, for automotive, paying subscription fees to the manufacturer's diagnostic software. They're service manuals or workshop manuals, whatever each manufacturer calls them. It's a lot of reading, and reading to the point that you understand. You can't just gloss over things, because then you won't diagnose it correctly. And if you don't diagnose it correctly, you will quickly gain the reputation of being the guy not to go see, because when you leave, it still won't be fixed. That is not me. That is not how that is not how we operate here. That's not what I was taught. You understand the system, and then you can diagnose the system, whatever the system is. Fuel system, lubrication system, welding system, power generation system, any system that you're going to work on, you should do your best to thoroughly understand it. Now, I get that sometimes there's things that are just straight broken, and you can see that they're broken. And if you get the part, put it on, no big deal. When there is a problem, like let's say electricity, because that's normally it. More and more things in the world are going to electrical control, computer controlled. You gotta know. You gotta know, is this a pull-up resistor or pull-down resistor circuit? Is it, is it a lid line? Is it just a activation signal on a one wire? Is it CAN bus? Which CAN protocol is it? Is it 0 to 5? Is it? You got to know. And if you don't know, you have to do that research at the time of diagnosing. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that it takes time. It takes time to diagnose these things, and it takes time to repair them properly. This one did not take a whole lot of time to diagnose properly. This one, the repair took far longer than the diagnosis. But that's because I know where to go. That's because I know what to check. Yeah, I don't know. I like to rant. Hopefully you like hearing it. If not, I'm sure I'll hear about it in the comments. I'm going to finish this off camera. You guys have a great rest of your day. I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please consider giving me a like and a subscribe. I'm trying to reach that monetization goal, so I can start trickling the pennies in. I appreciate each and every one of you for even considering clicking on my video. Take it easy.